Hello, hello, my gorgeous ones. Thank you so much for being so patient with me. We have, well, we always have stuff going on with the planets, right? But the bigger picture or the most prominent things are the things that I kind of want to bring when I do tarot readings, right? So we have Jupiter transiting from Libra to Scorpio on October 10th. So I want to talk about that first. So welcome, welcome all you new ones. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy. I am the modern day spiritual advisor. I use multiple modalities to help you on your path, including tarot, astrology, hypnotherapy, and mediumship. So I want to let everybody know, or I want to thank everybody for being patient, because when I'm doing tarot, or especially with this channel, I'm expanding it just from tarot. I'm a teacher, I'm a spiritual advisor, that's what I do. So I'm always sort of teaching you guys. So I had to like really meditate, get centered, and try to help, or try to see how I was going to teach this, right? So, because it's important, there's such a big group that's watching, it's important for, everyone to sort of get the concept, right? And when I do that, I know the way a Virgo is hearing me is not the same way a Scorpio is hearing me, or a Cancer is hearing me, or an Aquarius is hearing me. So even though you may get frustrated at the way that I say things, just understand that it's not just you watching. There are many, many, many watching. It's important for everyone to get the concept. That's the way that I teach. So, back to this Jupiter transiting into Scorpio. So Jupiter transits for a year. And so October 10th, it's going to be transiting from Libra, because it was in Libra, and now it's going to move into Scorpio. So obviously when it moves into a different house and a different sign, then it's going to be doing different things, right? And so it's got to like play nice with the house, right? So it's almost like it's coming to live in a house, and the house has a, I don't know, ruler, a landlord, right? So when Scorpio, or when Jupiter moves into Scorpio, it's going to be doing something very different than when it did to Libra. Or it could be doing the same thing, just in a different way, right? So let's talk about Jupiter itself first. Okay, so Jupiter is it's a huge planet. So, and again, it transits for a year. And so Jupiter is the manifester. Jupiter in Vedic astrology, they call him the guru, right? Jupiter is the teacher. Jupiter wants to expand things. And Jupiter, pardon me, got something stuck in my throat. But Jupiter wants to like give gifts and expand your knowledge and expand your thinking and expand your way of life, right? But it wants to do it for responsible owners, okay? So, because it's a teacher. So it's like, yes, you can have your gifts, but you have to be responsible in them. It's almost like, when you get, because we've talked about lottery winners, when you get lottery winners, the person that's responsible and able to handle that is much different than the one that isn't. They're going to end up losing it, right? So Jupiter sees this and he wants to give it to everybody. Jupiter loves giving gifts, so he wants to give it to everybody, right? But he's saying, as a guru, there are responsibilities that you have to be able to take and have to be able to accept these gifts. So that's sort of Jupiter. Pardon me, I don't know what's wrong with my throat. It must be a lot of you guys and myself. So Jupiter is like law and virtue and wealth. But Jupiter, being the guru or being the teacher, looks at like a lot of levels of a situation, or a lot of levels of what's going on when he's going to give you those gifts, right? So he's looking at everything and he's teaching you about those things, right? So Jupiter being in whatever house it's going to be in for you is going to be teaching you and expanding. And so it, like in the 10th house, where it's like your fame and your persona and all that, oh my gosh, it can make you grow so much out into the world and become this like person that everybody goes to and knows, right? But Before Jupiter got there, it was like, did you work hard for that? Were you doing your 16 hours a day or 14 hours a day studying and going and doing? That's what Jupiter's saying. Jupiter's like, I want to give you these gifts. Are you ready for them? Are you ready for them? And if you're not, he'll teach you. He'll teach you. And he's a what they call a malefic planet, right? So malefic is like a beautiful soft planet, right? So when Jupiter's looking at things, it's looking in the sign or the house, wherever he's at. He's looking at the positive and the negative. He's looking at both, right? But Jupiter is a masculine, what they call a masculine planet. So meaning when it's a masculine planet, it wants to manifest externally. So it wants to give you like the material. So it manifests externally. It's not like this inner pull or inner thing. It's like whatever you're learning, it can manifest into the physical. Does that make sense? So it'll want to manifest on an external level, right? So there are going to be some times during this year in your chart where you're going to have like, you know, the Jupiter and then the sun and so all those other planets sort of help and talk to each other, and that's what's going to be going on in your planets. I mean, in your houses. So when I'm doing this tarot reading, I'm doing it from your ascending, but you can look at your moon and you can look at your sun and you can look at your Venus. I mean, you can look at those things, but when you look at them from their point of view. Okay. So, I know a lot of people were like, no, it's not in this house, it's in that house. Well, it's my astrology, it's my reading. So I'm going to say it the way that I see it, and I'm going to say it the way that I'm being told to say it. So it may not be what your chart says, but it's what my chart said, right? So I just wanted to make that clear. Let me make sure that I'm looking at my notes to make sure that I don't forget everything about Jupiter. So I think the most important thing to understand, because it's ruled by Mars, I'm sorry, it's not ruled by Mars. I was looking at Scorpio. I think the most important thing that you need to understand is everybody gets this misconception that Jupiter's just going to give gifts and everything's going to be okay. And it's not. It depends on how it works in your house. It depends on what planets are there in your house, what house it's at, and how it's talking to the other planets, and how it's actually talking to the sign in your house, right? But it's going to be in Scorpio. So let's talk a little bit about Scorpio. So Scorpio is ruled by Mars, right? And we all know Mars. Mars is that ambition. It's that thing, that drive that makes you work hard, right? But also Mars can like take away harshly too. So Mars being, Scorpio being ruled by Mars, you're going to see that it's going to want to like, Jupiter is going to have to express itself in a Martian way, right? That makes sense? So let me say it this way. Let's just say, so Jupiter's been in a home in Libra for a year, and now he's got to move to a different home, right? So he's moving into Scorpio. And Scorpio, we'll just say the landlord is Mars, right? So Jupiter has to like sort of go by the rules of Mars and Scorpio, right? So if you think about it that way, that may help you. And the reason I'm explaining these characteristics, because I think it's really important for you to understand the planet and the sign and then your house, so that you know how to ultimately express these things, how to manifest these things in your life. Because you can, this is what the astrologers call octaves. Like you can express it in a negative, excuse me, what you call a negative way, or you can go to the finer vibration and express it in a positive way. But that's kind of up to you. That's where we have free will. That's where we have choices, right? And that's kind of up to you. But my job is to help you, to give you the knowledge and the understanding so that you know what you're working with, right? When you have the tools, you know what you're working with, right? So let's talk about Scorpio. Scorpio is sometimes a misunderstood sign. I know I've had the pleasure of having beautiful Scorpios around me, really beautiful Scorpios around me. It's not that I haven't seen beautiful Scorpios around me, but I've had the pleasure of having all the octaves, or what you call all the octaves around me. So I know how beautiful they can be, but I know how sometimes they're misunderstood because, you know, when you think about Scorpio, oftentimes they're just thought of as the ones that are keeping secrets, the ones that, you know, can manipulate, and the ones that are very sexual. Well, yeah, those are, you know, that Scorpio itself has those things in it, has those characteristics in it, but it doesn't necessarily, that's not all of what Scorpio is. Scorpio is just this beautiful, it has so many other beautiful things. So let's talk about what that is. So let's talk about some characteristics. So some characteristics about Scorpio is being secretive and aggressive, the protector, right? So if you're close to any Scorpio, you know that they will protect you if they love you and they understand you. They will protect you till their death. Like, that's how Scorpios are. So, but they're also intuitive, very empathic, empathetic as well, right? And what they do is they love the taboo. They love what's out of the ordinary. So oftentimes the reason that they're secretive, they're not meaning to be secretive in a malicious way. They're being secretive because they're thinking, and this is not all Scorpios, but they're being secretive because they're thinking what I see in this situation is probably not what society sees, and people probably won't understand that I'm okay with this, so I would just rather not say anything. That's a Scorpio. They're not trying to be malicious. They're not trying to be secretive. They're always thinking of you and thinking, well, you know, they don't really need to know that part because it's just my thought and my perception anyway. That's a Scorpio, right? So oftentimes there's that miscommunication in relationships where Scorpios being secretive, but it's because they think that it might be more harmful to you if you know what they're really thinking is okay, right? So take that into consideration when you're dealing with a Scorpio. Scorpio is about transformation. And if you've followed me forever, this is one thing I've always said about Scorpios. I always see them as the rising phoenix. I see them as going in, figuring it out, that inner deep, deep, deep stuff, because that's what they want to do. They want the knowledge of that deep, deep, deep occult, deep hidden, deep, deep stuff, right? And then they transform themselves. So let me say this, if you have a Scorpio in your life, they definitely, as much as they will push your boundaries, as much as, they won't push your boundaries, as much as your boundaries will be pushed, as much as your knowledge of the hidden will be pushed, you will ultimately be transformed and have the change into what you're supposed to be. That's Scorpio. Scorpio transforms into what you're supposed to be. Okay? So, having Jupiter go into Scorpio, that is what we're going to be dealing with over this next year, right? And depending on, this is where, you know, you want your chart read by an astrologer. Depending on the degree and which house will depend on that type of transformation, will depend on that type of knowledge, will depend on that type of thing that's going on. But again, because Jupiter's in there, it's going to expand it. It's going to make it bigger, right? So going back to Jupiter going into Scorpio. So in this time with Jupiter going into Scorpio and having to play by Mars and Scorpio's rules, right? Because now they're roommates. Now he's got to, or that's his landlord. So now Jupiter's got to be like, Jupiter's like, well, I got to go by these rules. So Jupiter is going to be in your house, wherever he's at, is going to be digging deep for knowledge, digging deep for the teachings. That's what Jupiter's going to have to do, right? Because Jupiter and Mars are friends. So Jupiter plays well with Mars. He just has a different way of doing things. But he understands that once he's in the Scorpio house, he's got to play by the rules, right? Like I said, Jupiter loves to give gifts. He loves to do that. But Jupiter is also about transformation and expansion. So that's why they play well together. They just do it in a different way, right? It reminds me of when a Gemini and Aquarius get together. Because you guys know my son is Gemini ascending Aquarius. So I have, in my lifetime, many, many Aquarian relationships. And so we have the same understanding about things, but we will be expressing it and explaining it in a different way, right? So it reminds me of kind of that. And I'm sure there are other signs, but I'm just bringing that to me. So, the one thing about Scorpio is that it is intense. So Scorpio is very intense. So whatever you're going to be going through, whatever this house is going to be lit up for you, wherever you're trying to express yourself, is, remember, because I'd said before, the planets are about expressing. It's the way that you're wanting to express it. And where it falls in the houses are the area of life you're wanting to express it. But the planets and the sign are about the way that you're wanting to express in your life, okay? So you're going to have some intense, deep, hidden things come about in your love life, in your life itself, in your love for family, in your businesses, in your money, in all of that. That's what Scorpio is about. It's about transforming, and so is Jupiter. So you're going to have some big transformation, which makes sense as to why I kept feeling transformation for everybody, because there's big transformation going on this year. Now, of course, this is only part of where the planets are, but this is a big part. And that's why I've decided to do Jupiter and Scorpio. So I'm going to go over each house. I'm going to go over each sign and tell you where it's at in your house, and then do the month of October reading. Okay? So I hope I explained everything correctly. Oh, I did want to mention too, this is very important because I know some of you, again, I'm speaking to a whole but many different people. And some of you will associate better with a chakra, right? So Scorpio is associated with the solar plexus. It's associated with your third chakra, right? So if you don't know what the third chakra is, or the solar plexus chakra, you can think of the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh as those that come from above, and then so in the spiritual almost realm, or in the energetic realm, right? And then the two down below are the ones that come from earth, or this earth, right? So if you take what you know from above and what you have from below, and you bring them together, you manifest through your third chakra. So you're all about manifestation in this chakra. Okay, so I think that's very important for a lot of people to understand. Now, depending on what house it is in and where your planets are aligned is going to depend on how you're going to manifest these things. What are you going to manifest, right? What area of life you're going to manifest and how. So I will see you in a minute. Okay, one more thing before I begin, I forgot to say. I wanted to talk about the ascending, the sun, and the moon very quickly so that you guys understand when you're watching. If you're watching from the ascending, you take this perspective, or the sun, you take this perspective, or the moon, you take that perspective, right? So the ascending, you can think of that as like your identity here in this world, right? Your identity. But when it comes from your ascending, when you're looking at it from your ascending, you're talking about your past lives, or if you don't believe in past lives, the stuff that's fated to happen, the stuff that's supposed to happen, the stuff that comes from nowhere, the stuff that, or the things, or the situation, or the people, like those relationships and whatever, fame, whatever that is. When it comes from, when you're looking at, that's why I like to work from the ascending, because this is stuff that was supposed to be yours anyway. This is stuff that's coming in for you anyway, because this is what you wanted to experience, because this is how you wanted to manifest, because, for all different reasons. So, or because, in your past life you did so much work and now you brought some of the gifts for this life, right? That's what you're looking at when you're looking at the ascendant, right? And that's why, sometimes what you guys call miracle just happened. Well, it happened because it was coming from your ascending. It was what you wanted to experience it in that way, right? So that's why I like to look at the ascending. And when you're looking at your ascending, that's the way that you want to see it. Okay? I mean, or not, you can do whatever. I'm just saying this is my understanding. So your sun, when you're looking at your sun sign, or you're watching from your sun sign, these are the directions that you can take. This is the intention that you put on your goals and your relationships and your way of life and the things that are happening to you. This is where you can make your choices, right? So this is more of the conscious mind, right? So you can think of it as like the ascending coming from your subconscious and the sun coming from your conscious, although they all have both. But this is where you can make your decisions and put your intention and put your focus, and this is where, you know, some people will say this is where your free will is, right? So when you're looking at it from your sun, it doesn't negate the fact that, you know, I mean, your ascending isn't more important than your sun. It all kind of works together. It's just that the ascending is where you get like those things that you're like, wow, that just happened, or oh my gosh, that just happened, right? Because that stuff like you probably didn't even see coming because it was fated for you. It was supposed to come in for you. It was like, that's like the miracles. That's from your higher self. That's from spirit. That's from you, from your whole being, right? And then the sun is more of that conscious. Now the moon is the way, when you're looking at it from your moon, this is where you get the information or get the relationship or get the things around you, and you're looking at them and you're processing them. And we process them many different ways, but we do it and we connect with it emotionally, right? So that's why they call the moon the emotional part. So this is where you're processing the information, and that's what you're doing when you're looking at the moon. When you're looking at it from the moon side, you're gathering the information and you're processing it emotionally. You're trying to connect to it. What do I want to do with it? What do I want to do with that situation? What do I want to do with that person? What do I want to do with my life? What is going on, right? That's the moon. So I just thought that was very important for everybody to understand. And please, even though I'm saying look at it from the ascendant, don't don't box yourself in. This is why I don't just do astrology, because astrology, just sometimes some people are so analytical and so to the T that you're missing out on this whole bigger picture. So absolutely look at it from your moon, because you might see a different thing. Look at it from your sun, because you might see a different thing. Look at it from your ascending. Look at it from all sides. That way you gather all the information, because they're all important. Okay? So I hope that helps. I'll see you in a minute. All right, my beautiful Taurians. Listen, I am so sorry. I gotta apologize. So I have a system that I do when I'm uploading videos after I've channeled, and I think I accidentally deleted your video, thinking I uploaded it, and I just realized, because I go back and check, that there were only 11 videos and there should be 12. So I apologize. I am so sorry. Your video was deleted. So we're going to do this again. So hello, welcome everyone. Let's talk about what Scorpio is going to do, what Jupiter is going to do for you. So if you were the Taurus, so because remember, your birth chart is unique to you. So some people have bigger houses, some people have little houses. That's why I go by the whole sign system, and you look at your ascendant, but you can look at your moon and your sun, and all of that kind of gives you a bigger, broader perspective to help you make the choices that you want and need to make, right? So Jupiter had been in your sixth house, and is now going to be moving into your seventh house. So it was in your sixth house in Libra, which is kind of if you think about it, a little bit contradictory, right? Because the sixth house is all about, well, I'm sorry, no, it's not contradictory. So the sixth house, where it's been in this last year, if you've been working in this house, what it's done in Libra was, the sixth house is called the I serve house, right? So it's about, and it's ruled by Virgo usually. So, or that's its ruler. So it's about work and health and your house of routine, you know, when you have yourself and your family and the people around you and the world you've created. It's about your daily life and the daily things that you do, daily stuff, right? So what happens in the sixth house is whatever's left from the first house, you know, your first house is your identity here in this world. Whatever's, as you've worked through that, whatever's left of the first house to learn, you learn it in this sixth house. So I feel like you Taurians have really grown in yourself if you're working in this house, and you know, how am I going to serve others? Now, let me make a distinction here. Taurians have no problem giving the world to someone they love, right? And then they know how to love themselves too. Not all, but most, right? But sometimes, because we get a little selfish, a little bit, we will begin to do, and I'm speaking Taurians, we will begin to do things or helping people or doing the things because it's the right thing to do. It's not necessarily what we want to do, but it's the right thing to do. Or because it's going to benefit you in some way, right? And that's okay. Listen, you made yourself the way you made yourself for a reason, okay? Because maybe in your last life you didn't do that at all. And maybe you needed to know how to do that in this life, right? There's no judgment. I'm just explaining this house. When you've grown in this house in this last year, and we're not done because we still have till October 10th, but as you've grown over the time in this last year, I think you've switched your perception about really wanting to help in a different way, really wanting to serve humanity, really wanting to serve the people around you, really wanting, like, not because you're going to get something out of it. Of course you will get something out of it because that's just reciprocity. That's the laws of the universe. But that wasn't your forethought. Where maybe in the past it had been your forethought. It was like it was the reason that you did it. This time, as you've grown in this, you've understood, wow, because I feel like this for a lot of you. Wow, like I really wanted to help this person. I really want to do this. I really want to. And I wasn't even thinking about what I was going to get back. I was just doing it because it felt good, because I wanted to, because it made them happy and me happy, right? So that's probably what, now everybody's different. This is a general reading, but that's probably what was going on as you discovered yourself and the world around you and your daily life and your daily routine in this year. And it also had to do with your health. So some of you were working on your health. You're, why don't I feel good? Why am I not doing this? How can I do better? What is it that I want? How do I want to look? How do I want to feel? Like all of that, because it does have to do with your work, your health, and your skills. So you were probably tweaking your skills, learning some new things, and service to others, right? Some of you may have been dealing with aunts and uncles, because aunts and uncles can be in this house too. So maybe the relationship, like maybe some of you actually like did something for your aunt or uncles or that family because you really wanted to, because you were in a position to, and you felt not like you felt it was the right thing, just because you really wanted to help. Right? So that's what you've been working through in the 6th house. Now we're moving to the 7th house. So remember, the 7th house is going to have Scorpio, because Scorpio wants to go in deep. Scorpio wants that deep, deep, deep stuff. The rising phoenix. Remember, it wants to go in, it wants to figure it out, and it wants to come out new, right? And then Jupiter goes in there and wants to expand this house. Now, if I haven't talked to you Taurians about the 7th house, I love this house. I used to not like this house, because I have stellium in there, and so if you guys don't know what that is, that's 3 or more planets in a specific house, right? So obviously, I came here to do a lot of things with people in relationships, as you can tell. This is my work, but the 7th house is. I love this house because I've understood it now. So the 7th house is. The first 6 houses we're talking about we and our placement in this life, and it's gearing us up to go to the 7th house. The 7th house, you can think of the 7th house as you standing there and everyone behind you, and so you don't know who's coming, what's coming, because somebody can come in and give you a present and somebody can come in and hurt you, right? That's the 7th house. You can't see them until they come in front of you, and then they mirror you, because you know that people in your life mirror you. They bring out something in you that you want to go through, that you want to experience. That's the 7th house. So what you learn in the 7th house is boundaries, and you learn who you are and what you want to do with people. What do you compromise? What are you willing to compromise? What are you not willing to compromise? What's a boundary? What's not? What are you willing to sort of bend, and what's not? And listen, Taurians, there have been many times in your life where you have been taken advantage of. I don't think a lot of people know that, but you have been really taken advantage of. And yes, maybe you got a little mean because you were taken advantage of, and then you bit back. But either way, you were taken advantage of. So you're going to be working in this house. You're going to be expanding yourself in this house because Jupiter wants to expand. Jupiter's the teacher, the guru. And Scorpio wants to go deep. So none of that surface stuff. None of that stuff where, that's why you were being prepared in the sixth house. None of the surface stuff where, I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do, or because society says so, or because, I have to be the good person and blah, blah, blah. No, none of that. Scorpio's not going to have that. Now, you can do it because you have choices. This is free will. You can do whatever you want. But I'm telling you, one way or another, Jupiter's going to expand that. And it's either going to be expanded negatively or positively, what y'all call negative and positive. What I call different vibrations, unevolved or evolved, right? So what vibration is Jupiter going to expand? And remember, when Jupiter expands, he gives gifts. He loves to give presents. He loves to, but he's only going to give it to responsible owners, right? That's because he has to work in this house. And Scorpio is all about resources too. So if you go deep and you really understand where your boundaries are, and you really understand why you're doing the things that you do and why the people are in your life and what's going on, you're going to be expanded and getting so many gifts in this house, right? That's the seventh house. This next year, and you can look back over, you can watch this video again at the end of the year in November 2018. You can look back and see, you know what, these people did come in. I did learn this. I was doing this, and I like it this way, and I don't like it this way. And I've learned a boundary here, and I've learned what I'm going to compromise here, right? Also, if you've been really working and it's your time and it's your cycle, your life cycle, you can have partnerships come into here, like love partnerships come into here. But you also have business partners, all types of partnership. This is partnerships. This is relationships. This is what the seventh house is. Okay. Partnerships, relationships of any kind. So your family can come through here. Your love partner can come through here. Your romantic partner can come to just a romance partner, or your life partner can come through here. If you're ready, if it's time, have you been working on these 5-6 houses, and is it in your time of life? Maybe you've worked on these 5-6 houses before, but you had to go through them again, and now you're at the second part of your life. It kind of depends, because this is a general reading and there's a lot of people watching. So it kind of depends on your life cycle, but by the end of this, you're going to see where your life has really changed. And whether it's for the better or worse, that's kind of up to you and your decisions and your evolvement, okay? And what you do, the decisions you make. There's no longer hiding behind, well, I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. No, you have to do it from your heart. You have to know what you want. If you're going to expand in the evolved or the finer vibrations, or what y'all call higher vibrations, you're going to have to do from your heart, right? And that means sometimes telling people no. And that means sometimes letting people go. That's what that means, okay? But Jupiter and Scorpio are going to have you digging deep in here. They're going to have you digging deep. So if you don't do it that way, it's going to come negatively. If you do it from your heart and learn these things, and it's not even just about learning, it's experiencing them. It's like, yeah, I want to, you came here, some of you, to say, I want to know what it's like for me to have so much love for someone, and them do this, right? Because now I know what I don't want, right? This is about what you do want and don't want. All right. So with that being said, Jupiter could bless you with partnerships of all kinds, but Jupiter could also bless you with your partner, your life partner. Let me say this, because you're an earth sign. And if it's in your ascending, you're an earth sign. So if you really came here to experience partnership, life partnership, like a romantic, your lover, your partner, your everything, it absolutely can come through this house in this year, because this is where you're working. This house is activated for you, okay? So with that being said, this is going to be your October, and it's going to unfold throughout the year. But this is going to be your October 2017 monthly love reading. But to me, if you've never seen me, love is that energy that, or force that moves through all vibrations. So I could be talking about anything for you. Wherever your attention and focus has been, that's what I'm talking about. So in your first position, you have the King of Swords. This is you. So it looks like you were wheeling, dealing, making decisions. I mean, I feel like you guys have done a lot of work in the sixth house. So you were making choices, you were doing things, you're thinking outside the box. You're like in a happier mood. I love Taurians when they're in this mood. My mother was a Taurian. My mother was a Taurus. So I get along with Taurians very well. But you were thinking outside the box, you were getting things done, you were understanding the things that you have, it's because you wanted to have them. Some of you came from a lot, because the King of Swords comes from a lot, like a lot of losses, right? They have a lot, or they contain a lot, but they do have losses that they've been through. That's some of you. Others of you, this is a situation that you guys are dealing with in the love area, so it could be a person. I don't necessarily see this as well, no, it's an air sign. Gemini and Gemini and Libra is what I'm feeling. Yeah, I feel Gemini and Libra. Okay, so I mean, I'm sure there's Aquarians in there, but it's more Gemini, Libra. So this is a person you were dealing with, and understanding what it was that you really wanted, why they were in your life, and why you were in their life, and what you were going to do from that forward. So I feel like this is in your now. So if it's in your now, you're either about to deal with this, or you've been dealing with this, right? And so this is all preparing you again for your seventh house. What are you willing to compromise? What are you not, right? In the love area. So it could be, I don't feel like this is someone new. I don't feel like this is someone new. I feel like this might be someone new, but I don't feel like this is someone new. So what's crossing you is Spirit's advice in this situation. And they're saying, be the King of Wands. So the King of Wands is a fire sign. And I'm feeling like a lot of Leo and a lot of Sag. Like, no, I'm feeling Aries too. How do I say this? For some of you, they're saying, be that spark. Take that action. Fire signs are action oriented. They take action. But guess what? They never fail at anything they want to do. They just have to want to do it. And then they don't fail at it. They just won't take no for an answer. They'll just keep it going, keep it going. They'll like keep moving. So for some of you, they're saying, be that. Get that passion back. Be in that passion and make the choices. Take the action, because you're not going to fail when you take the action. It's not going to fail. So for others of you, I feel like this advice is this person coming into your life. If this is you and you're open and ready for that relationship, you have someone coming in. And this is a fire sign, because the king to me means it's the king or queen, but it's not gender specific. To me, that means that they're those specific signs. So they've got a lot of Sag, a lot of Leo, or a lot of Aries. I feel a lot of Aries if it's a partner. I feel a lot of Aries. Now, this could be in your business, and trust me, you want this person in your business, because this person can make things happen. Or it's in your love life. And some of you, it could be your love life goes into your business moves into the love life. So it could be somebody that comes in, you're doing, projects with them, and then you fall in love. Like, I kind of feel like that too. Okay. So their advice is be passionate in what you do. Take the bull by the horns and do it. Like, just keep doing, take some action. Don't get stuck in not taking the action. Have the passion behind it in your heart, and you're not going to fail. For others of you, this is a beautiful person coming in. This person is very charismatic. Like, they can own the room. They really can. They smile beautifully, but they have this kindness about them. Like, as much as they're a big light in a room, they can just talk to you, and then you'll forget that everybody else is around. Yeah, that's what I feel like with this person. Now, Wow, congratulations, some of you. In your third position, this is your recent past. So some of you came to that position where you were enjoying life, enjoying the project that you'd gone through. Some of you may have gotten other people's money. Some of you may have received, like, I don't know, inheritances or bonuses or something. Whatever this is, you had been working on it. Some of you had been working on this and it came through. For others of you, this came through, but you didn't realize that you've worked on it before. Um, so this to me is either the relationship that you have with a partner already, because if it's a long-term relationship, it looks like you were enjoying yourself. You were really understanding that you've been together a while and how many coins or how many situations in life that you put into the bank together, and you were really sort of enjoying that. And then you were also trying to look at, where are we going next? What are we going to do next, right? And then for others of you, it is the money. It is like the resources that came in. So with that brought you here to making the choices, to understanding it was always yours, to doing the things and thinking about the things necessary to move forward. And then, well, they're saying with this, take the action. But for others of you, this is a person coming in. So it looks like some of you have been thinking about, what to do next with your lifetime partner, right? Because I see that in the fourth position, you have the star, which to me is reconciliation. So in the first 2 weeks, it looks like there's some reconciliation, even if you're still in the same home, or even if you're still like dating, or like, I feel like some of you are in the same home, but you weren't you're just there and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do next, right? So I feel like in this first 2 weeks, it looks like you two get bonded, get back to that space where you two once were. Maybe not the exact space, because we don't go back to that, but that closeness that you have together. I feel like in the first 2 weeks, you'll be dealing with that. You'll be having that sort of time. For others of you, if it's a business partner, he or she may come back with an offer, because I feel like whatever this is that you've been working on in business, it looks like you two come together to an understanding and get really close, right? Now, for others of you, I feel like this is your mood. Your mood is much better. Your mood is understanding where you are in life, and that it's not so bad, and that, you know what, I can do what it is that I want. I am brave. I am resourceful. I can. That's what I'm feeling. I can. Okay. So congratulations. Now, in your fifth position from your higher self, I always ask your higher selves, what is the one message they want to bring through to help you move forward in love? And you have the Four of Swords. So the Four of Swords tells me coming soon. Some of the advice is coming soon is there's a situation that you're just going to have to let lie, because you've done all that you can in this situation, and it's just not going to go the way that you want it to go. Because honestly, from your higher self, you probably don't want it that way, because you can't see all of what would unfold. That's for some of you. For others of you, because I know you Taurians can like get really stubborn, right? And you're like, nope, it's going to do this. I got to have it do that. It's got to be that way. And then you don't listen to anybody else. But really, it's your higher self saying there's an easier way. And if you do it this way, something may unfold that you didn't want. So you really don't want it that way. Okay. Now, for others of you, I feel like there is a situation that you know about that you're trying to make happen, and it looks like in order for it to happen, you have to relax and let it lie. You just got to take a break from it. You gotta. Okay, because when you focus your attention on something else with the laws of the universe, that energy will open up and that thing will flow in, right? So that's your higher self's advice. Now, my Taurians, in your sixth position, at the end of the month, second half, you have the Tower. So you have some big changes coming, big changes. And I think this has to do with moving from your sixth to your seventh house, right? Or even moving one sign to the next, whatever. If you're the fifth house going to the sixth, or because it kind of depends on your chart. But whatever this is, your life is changing, and things are going to happen either abruptly because you're refusing to do it another way, or you see this coming and it's got to change. So, some of you, that means, I don't want to scare anybody because I see some of you where you've been alone a long time because you've been really like living life and trying to figure things out, and like I'm not sure if I want a partner, but I don't know, right? I feel like your life changes because a partner comes in. But for others of you who haven't let go of something or someone, some situation, that's going to be let go of in this. And you'll be dealing with that at the second half, okay? So remember, with this card, the foundation can be as high as this. If you've built a solid foundation, it's only going to crumble to where it's not solidly built, right? Now, if you didn't build a solid foundation, then yes, it's going to fall from there. But sometimes it can just fall from here. And so something happens and you got to change, and then you readjust, and then you move forward. That's what I'm feeling for some of you. I feel like it's not that big a deal for some of you, but some of you I feel like it is, because you're so focused and being so stubborn that you're like, no, it's got to do this, and it's not. It's going to do something else, okay? So, in your 7th position, this is your fear. Your fear is, I've worked on so many things for so long. I've done the work that I needed to do. When is this thing or this person or this situation or this lifestyle going to birth? When is it going to come through? How much more work do I have to do? That's for some of you. Like, I put out one fire, I get that stable, and then this one becomes unstable. And then I make that stable, and this one becomes unstable. And then I make that stable, and this becomes unstable. So this is the thing, my Taurians. This is just a fear. A fear is there to remind you of what you want and what you don't want. So if you know that you don't want to have to work so hard for something to come through, then do it the easier way. Or if you know that you don't want to have your life where one thing's stable and the other thing becomes unstable, then make them both stable. You can do that. You absolutely can do that. Focus on that. Remember, focus on what you want. You already know what you don't want, so focus on what you want. And then allow that to happen, okay? Some of you, it's that love partner. Is that partner ever coming in? I've worked so long on myself. Is that partner ever coming in? Yes, they are. Whenever you allow them, right? In your 8th position, this is the way a loved one will be viewing you or dealing with you. I feel like they see the beauty in you. I feel like they see how driven and how beautiful and how charismatic and how kind you are. And how, like, I feel like they see the good things in you and not just the stubbornness and the, isolation sometimes and the whatever that is. It's different things for different people. But I feel like they see the beauty of you. And I feel like whoever this new person is coming in, whether it's business or family or your lover or a partner, a romantic partner, whoever this is, I feel like they see the beauty in you. They see what you've worked so hard to become. That's what they see. And they'll be handling you and dealing with you in this manner, okay? Well, I mean, they're not going to be handling you, but you know what I mean. They're going to be dealing with you in this manner. Now, in your 9th position, this is your hopes and dreams, but to me, this is the outer realm of the energy you're bringing in. So you have the 6 of Wands. So you have accolades coming. You have people noticing you. All that hard work that you were afraid that's not going to come through is actually going to come through, okay? Now, when is it going to come through? It's in the outer realm, so it kind of depends on your choices. When are you going to allow it to come through? When are some of you going to stop being so stubborn? And when are some of you going to really love yourself as well as love your partner, right? When you can love yourself and your partner, that's what you're really wanting, because nobody's going to fill that hole for you. You have to fill that hole, right? And when you do that, you have that vibration of, I'm a whole person. And then whoever comes in is the whole person. That makes sense? But if you have a hole, H-O-L-E, and the other person has a hole, HOLE. When you meet each other, because you're vibrating at the same frequency, you're filling that person's hole and that person's filling your hole. And then when you're both together filling the holes, with the holes filled in, all of a sudden you can start focusing on other things. And that's what happens when you're like, well, I'm not happy. Or that person says, I'm not really happy. This is not really what I want. It's because you just have that hole filled. Now you're the whole person. So it's better when you are completely sorry, WHOLE, and you're a whole person, and then you vibrate at that so that that whole person comes in because you already know what you want. Does that make sense? This is more manifesting stuff, but they're having me explain this to you. So you have this coming in. Kind of depends on what you're doing, what choices you're making, how you're doing things, as to how fast that can come in. Okay? Now, in your 10th position, this is the overall outcome of what you'll be working through in the month of October. You have the 7 of Coins. That's a beautiful card. So somewhere in this month, you're going to be working through an understanding. I have done the hard work. I am still moving forward. I continue to nourish my tree, but now I can pick from the fruit. I can pick the pentacles. I can pick the resources. I can pick that. They're kind of falling to me. I understand that. So I feel like somewhere in here, with all the anxiety and all the doubt and all the stuff that you guys are going through, I feel like by the end of the month, some of you before, some of you at the end, you'll understand I am in a better place. And I am able to enjoy the fruits of my labor. And I am able to enjoy the relationships that I have and the family that I have and the things that I have, right? So that's what I feel like you'll be working through. Some of you it comes in the beginning, some of it comes and then you're like, you feel it and then you don't and then you feel it, okay? So it kind of just depends on, everybody's different and this is a big group. So my gorgeous ones, sorry again, I apologize for deleting your video accidentally, but maybe this is what they really wanted to say. I love you, love you, love you. I'm sending you lots of love and light. Bye.